The vast emptiness of space stretched before the human exploration vessel, its sleek hull cutting through the darkness like a knife. Captain June Park stood on the bridge, his eyes fixed on the holographic display that flickered with incoming data. The ship's sensors had picked up something unusual, a cluster of alien vessels approaching from the outer rim of the Orion sector. Kai Lee, the ship's communication specialist, adjusted her headset and frowned. "Captain, I'm detecting multiple unknown signatures. They don't match any known galactic registry." Her fingers danced across the quantum translation matrix, attempting to decode the incoming signals. June nodded, his hand resting casually on the command interface. Years of training had prepared him for moments like these. First contact scenarios were always unpredictable, but humanity had learned to be cautious yet confident. The alien vessels were massive, triangular constructs that seemed to absorb light around them. Their approach was deliberate, almost arrogant. As they drew closer, Kai began to pick up fragments of communication. The translation matrix struggled momentarily before resolving into a language that dripped with condescension. "Primitive vessel." The first transmission came through. "You are entering restricted space of the Xeraxian Confederation. Prepare for inspection and potential containment." June's crew exchanged glances. The ship's AI, a sophisticated neural network named Aria, began running multiple scenario analyses. "Captain," Aria's calm voice filled the bridge. "Potential threat level is high. Defensive protocols are standing by." The alien vessels continued their approach. Their communication suggested they viewed the human ship as nothing more than a minor inconvenience, a lost explorer about to be dealt with swiftly and without mercy. What the Xeraxians didn't know was that this was no ordinary exploration vessel. Beneath its unassuming exterior, the ship carried technologies that would challenge everything the aliens understood about space warfare and technological capability. Kai continued to monitor the incoming transmissions. The alien language was complex, filled with layers of hierarchical communication that suggested a deeply stratified society. Each word seemed to carry the weight of centuries of established superiority. "They're scanning us," she reported, her voice steady. "But their scan frequencies are outdated. They have no idea what they're looking at." June allowed himself a small smile. Humanity had spent decades preparing for this moment, developing technologies that could adapt, transform, and respond to threats in ways no other species could comprehend. The lead alien vessel began to emit a powerful energy signature. It was clearly preparing some form of containment protocol, a standard procedure for dealing with what they considered inferior species. Aria's voice cut through the tension. "Defensive shield optimization at 98% efficiency. Quantum dispersal. Matrix is fully charged." The AI's tone was matter-of-fact, but there was an underlying current of preparedness that spoke volumes. Kai suddenly tensed. "Captain, they're about to initiate a forced communication lock. They intend to board or disable our vessel." June's response was immediate. "Stand by. Let them believe they have the advantage." The next few moments would define humanity's first significant encounter with the Xeraxian Confederation. Years of hidden technological development, careful preparation, and an unwavering belief in human potential were about to be tested. As the alien vessels drew closer, their massive forms blocking out the distant starlight, the human ship remained calm, no panic, no fear. Just a quiet, determined readiness that would soon challenge everything the Xeraxians believed about the universe and their place in it. The first contact was about to begin. The bridge crew waited, each system checked and rechecked. Captain June Park watched the approaching alien vessels, his hand steady, his mind clear. This was more than just a moment of first contact. This was humanity's introduction to a larger, more complex galactic stage, and they were ready. The first plasma torpedoes cut through space like brilliant, angry streaks of light. They came without warning, their energy signatures unlike anything the human crew had seen before. Captain June Park's reflexes were instantaneous. "Defensive pattern Omega," he commanded, his voice calm and steady. The ship's systems seemed to breathe. Quantum shields flickered to life, a complex web of energy that shimmered around the vessel's hull. Where any other ship would have been obliterated, this human vessel simply absorbed the incoming fire. Kylie's fingers flew across the communication panel. "They're not requesting surrender. This is a full-scale attack," she reported, her voice tight with tension. The alien vessels, massive triangular constructs, continued their assault, clearly expecting immediate destruction of their target. Area, the ship's AI, began its tactical analysis. Incoming weapon signatures identified: Zyraxian plasma fusion, torpedoes, destructive potential, 98% against standard galactic defense systems. The AI's calm assessment contrasted sharply with the chaos of battle. The first wave of attacks revealed the Zyraxians' fundamental mistake. They believed technological superiority was about raw power. Humanity had learned something different. Adaptability was the true measure of strength. Each torpedo that struck the human ship's shields created intricate energy patterns. Instead of being destroyed, the vessel was learning, analyzing, adapting. The shields began to change color, shifting from deep blue to a luminescent silver that seemed to consume the incoming energy. "They're confused," Kai whispered, watching the alien communication channels. The Zyraxian command was broadcasting panic. Their most advanced weapons were being treated like nothing more than minor irritations. Captain Park watched the holographic display, his mind calculating multiple scenarios. This wasn't just a battle. This was a statement. Humanity would not be underestimated, would not be conquered. Another volley of torpedoes approached. This time, something unexpected happened. The human ship didn't just defend, it began to respond. Small drone systems emerged from hidden compartments, each one a marvel of miniature engineering. They moved with a precision that defied traditional combat logic. The drones didn't attack. Instead, they began to interfere with the alien vessel's communication systems, sending back altered signals, creating confusion, breaking down the Zyraxians' ability to coordinate their attack. Tactical disruption protocol activated, Area announced. The ship's systems were turning the aliens' own technology against them. On the lead Zyraxian vessel, Commander Vrel watched in growing horror. The human ship wasn't just surviving. It was playing with them. Each attack was being studied, analyzed, and neutralized with terrifying efficiency. "This is impossible," Vrel muttered, watching as another wave of torpedoes simply dissolved before reaching their target. The human vessel seemed to be learning faster than their most advanced AI systems could predict. June Park allowed himself a slight smile. Years of preparation, decades of secret technological development. This was the moment humanity had prepared for. The battle wasn't about destruction. It was about sending a message. We are here. We are capable. We will not be ignored. Area continued its tactical assessment. Zyraxian attack formation is breaking. Psychological impact of defense strategy, 92% effective. The AI's analysis was cold, precise, a perfect reflection of the calculated response unfolding in space. Kylie intercepted a desperate communication from the alien command. Fragments of their language revealed total disbelief. How could a species they considered primitive be performing such advanced defensive maneuvers? The human ship didn't need to destroy the Zyraxian vessels. Simply proving its capability was enough. Each moment of the encounter was a lesson, a demonstration of humanity's true potential. As quickly as it began, the attack started to dissolve. The Zyraxian vessels began to retreat, their formation in complete disarray. They had come expecting an easy victory. Instead, they found something entirely unexpected: humanity, waiting, watching, ready. The first provocation had ended, but this was just the beginning. The stars seemed to hold their breath as 3 Zyraxian cruisers disappeared in precise, calculated explosions. It wasn't a display of brute force, but a masterpiece of technological manipulation that left the alien command absolutely bewildered. Captain June Park studied the holographic display, his fingers tracing invisible strategic lines. The human vessel had transformed from a defensive platform to a precise surgical instrument of technological warfare. Area, the ship's AI, processed information at speeds that would make quantum computers look primitive. Tactical breakthrough. Confirmed, Arya announced. The AI's voice carried no excitement, just pure clinical precision. Kylie intercepted fragmented alien communications. Panic was spreading through the Zyraxian fleet like a virus. Their most advanced weapon systems were being dismantled not through physical destruction, but through something far more terrifying. Complete technological understanding. The human ship moved differently now. Where traditional vessels would follow predictable combat patterns, this ship seemed to exist in multiple strategic possibilities simultaneously. Its energy signatures shifted. Its structural configuration adapted. Each moment was a new equation that the Zyraxians couldn't solve. Commander Vrel watched in growing horror. His communication panels showed impossible scenarios. The human vessel was rewriting the fundamental rules of space combat. Systems that should have been predictable were now completely unpredictable. How are they doing this? Vrel muttered, his hands shaking over the control interface. The answer was simple yet complex. Humanity had spent decades preparing for this moment. Every technological advancement, every theoretical simulation, every hidden research project was now bearing fruit. This wasn't just a battle. This was a complete demonstration of technological superiority. Area began systematically disrupting Zyraxian communication networks, not through brute force hacking, but by understanding their communication protocols at a molecular level. Each signal was being analyzed, understood, and then subtly manipulated. Quantum entanglement technologies that the aliens believed were theoretical were now being used as precise weapons. The human ship could predict attack vectors before the Zyraxians themselves knew their own intentions. Kylie's hands moved across complex translation matrices. "They're losing communication cohesion," she reported. "Their fleet is becoming isolated." The strategic counterplay was beautiful in its complexity. Humanity wasn't just fighting. They were teaching a lesson about the nature of technological evolution. Small drone systems emerged from the human vessel. They weren't traditional weapons. They were information collectors, analysis platforms that could understand alien technology faster than the aliens could adapt. Each Zyraxian system that came into contact with these drones was immediately mapped, understood, and neutralized. It was like watching a complex biological immune system respond to an unknown pathogen. Captain Park watched the unfolding scenario with calm concentration. This wasn't about destruction. This was about demonstrating a fundamental truth. Technological capability was more about adaptability than raw power. The Zyraxian cruisers began to drift, not destroyed, not defeated in a traditional sense, simply neutralized. Their systems were being understood and rendered ineffective with surgical precision. Area's tactical assessment was chilling in its simplicity. Zyraxian strategic capabilities neutralized. Psychological impact. Comprehensive defeat. Commander Vrel could only watch as his most advanced vessels became nothing more than floating monuments to their own technological limitations. The human ship hadn't just won a battle. It had redefined the entire concept of technological warfare. "We invented possibilities you never considered," Kylie transmitted in a clear, calm message to the alien fleet. As the last Zyraxian communication systems went dark, something became abundantly clear. This was more than a battle. This was humanity's announcement to the galaxy. We are here. We are different. We are ready. The stars continued their silent watch, bearing witness to a moment that would change galactic history forever. The galaxy watched in silent anticipation as humanity's true technological marvel unfolded. It wasn't just military power that defined their strength. It was an adaptive intelligence that seemed to breathe and think with impossible complexity. Captain June Park stood on the bridge, watching as the human fleet transformed. Each ship was no longer a static weapon, but a living system of technological brilliance. They moved like a single organism, anticipating threats before they could even form. Area, the central intelligence, processed information at speeds that defied conventional understanding. Tactical Adaptation Protocol activated, the AI announced. Weapon systems began to shift, recalibrate, and transform in milliseconds. The Zyraxian fleet, once proud and seemingly invincible, now looked like children playing with outdated toys. Their most advanced technologies were being absorbed, understood, and neutralized with terrifying efficiency. Kai Li intercepted communication channels. The alien commanders were losing hope. Panic spread through their ranks like a contagious disease. They were facing something beyond their comprehension, a species that could learn and adapt faster than they could think. Quantum disruption fields emerged from the human ships. These weren't traditional weapons. They were intelligent systems that could break down alien technological defenses at a molecular level. Each energy pulse carried complex, algorithmic patterns that dismantled defensive systems from within. "They're rewriting the rules of engagement," Kai whispered, watching. The holographic displays that showed the complete transformation of space combat. The human fleet didn't just fight. They studied. They learned. Each alien attack became a lesson, each defensive maneuver a new piece of technological understanding. Where traditional militaries would see obstacles, humanity saw opportunities for innovation. Small drone swarms, deployed from the human vessels. They weren't simple attack platforms. They were complex information gatherers, each one capable of understanding and adapting to alien technologies in real time. They moved with a precision that seemed almost alive. Commander Vrel watched in growing desperation. His communication panels showed complete system failures. The human ships were doing something impossible. They were evolving during combat. Structural. Configurations changed. Energy signatures shifted. Weapon systems that didn't exist moments before suddenly materialized, perfectly designed to counter specific alien technologies. Area's tactical assessment was clinical. Zyraxian technological infrastructure, completely compromised. Probability of recovery, 0.03%. The battle wasn't about destruction. It was about demonstrating a fundamental truth about technological capability. Humanity had developed something beyond traditional understanding, a living, breathing technological ecosystem. Each human ship became a node in a complex network. They shared information, adapted, and responded with a speed that made traditional computer systems look like ancient calculators. The entire fleet moved like a single intelligent organism. Alien defensive systems that took centuries to develop were being understood and neutralized in moments. It was like watching a sophisticated immune system respond to an unknown threat, breaking down and understanding its components with terrifying efficiency. "We are rewriting the possibilities of technological existence," Captain Park muttered, watching the holographic display of total battlefield transformation. The Zyraxian fleet began to disintegrate, not through traditional destruction, but through a complete breakdown of their technological understanding. Their systems were being learned, understood, and then systematically neutralized. Kai Li's transmission to the alien command was simple and devastating. "Your technology is now our understanding." As the last Zyraxian communication systems went dark, something became abundantly clear. This wasn't just a battle. This was a complete technological revolution. Humanity had arrived, and they had brought with them a new understanding of what technology could be. The stars continued their silent watch, bearing witness to a moment that would reshape galactic civilization forever. The aftermath of the conflict hung in space like a silent promise. Broken Zyraxian vessels drifted against the dark canvas of stars, monuments to humanity's unexpected power. Diplomatic channels across multiple star systems began to buzz with an uncomfortable truth. The humans were not what anyone had expected. They were something entirely different. Captain June Park received transmissions from unexpected sources. Alien civilizations that had watched the conflict began sending cautious communication requests. Not threats, not declarations of war, but questions how became the universal inquiry. Area, the ship's intelligence system, began processing the incoming communications. Each message was a subtle probe, attempting to understand the technological leap humanity had just demonstrated. Kai Li managed the communication matrix, her fingers moving with precision across quantum translation interfaces. "They're trying to understand our capabilities," she reported to Captain Park. The Galactic Council, a collection of advanced civilizations that had existed for millennia, found themselves in an unprecedented situation. A species they had categorized as developing had just demonstrated technological capabilities that surpassed centuries of established understanding. Commander Vrel, surviving the conflict, submitted a comprehensive report that read more like a philosophical surrender than a military assessment. Humanity had not just won a battle. They had redefined the concept of technological evolution. Small diplomatic vessels began arriving. Representatives from star systems hundreds of light years apart wanted to understand, not to challenge, not to compete, but to comprehend. The human response was calculated and simple. They were not interested in conquest. They were interested in progress, in understanding, in pushing the boundaries of what was possible. ARIA began preparing comprehensive data packages, not weapons, not attack strategies, but scientific and technological information that would challenge existing galactic knowledge. "We are offering collaboration," became the fundamental message transmitted across multiple communication frequencies. Alien scientists studied the captured technologies. From the conflict, each system was a puzzle. Each design was a revolution. Humanity had not just developed advanced technology. They had created living, adaptive technological ecosystems. The Xeraxian Confederation, once a dominant force, now found themselves studying human technological remains like archaeologists examining a completely unknown civilization. Diplomatic meetings began to happen, not through traditional channels, but through quantum communication networks that humanity had subtly developed. Each interaction was an opportunity for mutual understanding. Captain Park understood the deeper strategy. This wasn't about military dominance. This was about reshaping galactic perspectives, showing that technological advancement was not about power, but about potential. Kai Li managed the communication matrices, watching as alien civilizations began to recalibrate their understanding. Humanity was not a threat to be contained. They were a potential to be understood. ARIA continued processing massive amounts of data. The AI was creating comprehensive models of potential galactic interactions, showing pathways of cooperation that no previous civilization had considered. The final transmission from the human fleet was not a declaration of war, but an invitation. Respect is earned. Cooperation is discovered. Alien civilizations began to realize something fundamental. Humanity represented something new, not a military force, not a technological threat, but a living, breathing possibility of what technological evolution could represent. Commander Vrel's final report became a philosophical document. Humanity had not just changed the rules of engagement. They had shown that rules were merely suggestions, waiting to be reimagined. The stars seemed to hold their breath. Something had changed. The galaxy would never be the same. Humanity had arrived, not with conquest, not with destruction, but with a promise of something more. Understanding, potential, hope.